Akane Kurokawa from Oshi No Ko is based on a real person, and this person actually died. But that's not all. This episode came out during the anniversary of her death. Hey friends, and welcome back to my channel. For those who don't know, my name is Tifa and we are discussing another true story from Oshi No Ko. Last week I talked about the true story behind Ai Hoshino, so if you guys would like to see the story that is behind her character, I will link it down below. And if you want to see other characters and the true stories behind them, then don't forget to subscribe. This is probably the most well-known story that Oshi No Ko has covered so far. Akane Kurokawa is a character in Oshi No Ko who joins a reality TV show along with other characters such as Aqua, the main character of Oshi No Ko. During the filming of this reality TV series, she decided to do something a little bit more drastic, a little bit more out of character to try and grab the audience's attention. She was kind of told that maybe playing the bad girl could help her in standing out, and as a theatrical actress who really likes to take on these sorts of roles and wanted to make sure she did stand out for the sake of her manager and her production team, she tried to do something that ended up backfiring. Akane slaps another one of the girls across the face and ends up scratching her, leaving a little bit of a mark. This episode of the reality TV show within Oshi No Ko was not well received by people within this universe, basically. Everyone was incredibly angry at Akane for doing such a thing, especially the way that the reality TV show frames it and showcases her as the bad girl who is trying to intrude on a relationship that appears to already be there. With all the hate that she received online, it wasn't just directed at that particular scene, it was directed specifically at her, telling her that she should end her life, telling her that the way she looks isn't appealing, telling her that her mother is at fault for raising her that way, and there were just so many horrific and terrible comments. I know this goes by quite fast in the anime, so you have to pause to read it in comparison to the manga where you simply just read it. But it is pretty drastic and really kind of talks about how cyberbullying can affect a person. Akane endures this for a period of time and then decides that maybe these people are right. Well, maybe not that these people are right, but maybe she just doesn't want to listen to this anymore, and she attempts to do what they tell her to do and tries to jump off a bridge until Aqua saves her. Now, in the true story this is based off of, it doesn't have as much of a happy ending. Most people know of the reality TV show Terrace House. This is a Japanese TV show that went on for many years and was incredibly popular. It was one of my personal favorite shows as well. In about 2020, this show ended and never made another episode again because of what happened. In the most recent season of this show, which was based in Tokyo that season, there was a wrestler named Hana Kimura. She was quite young, like most people were on the show, and she went into wrestling quite like her mother was in wrestling as well, and it was quite interesting hearing her talk about it. People picked on the way that she looked. She had coloured hair, she was mixed race, and apparently a lot of people online didn't like that for whatever reason. She was also quite a vocal and expressive person, which was really kind of nice to see within the show. She kind of brought a different light, but there was a relationship between two other people in the show. She appeared to like the male counterpart in this relationship and was kind of a little bit more vocal than some other people would have been about that. and she knocked the hat off the male counterpart to that relationship, and people were mad. Like, aggressively mad. Once a relationship has kind of been set in a reality TV show, especially like Terrace House, people will go for that relationship no matter what. And people bullied her before that happened, before that incident, and it got worse after. Much like Akane's character in Oshi No Ko, she experienced real life relentless online bullying to an extent that I cannot even comprehend how bad it was. People online were so brutal for no reason, and you know, in America, in Australia, we have some online bullying laws. There really wasn't anything to protect her online either. And I know that that is the point that Oshi No Ko is talking about here in the show, the fact that we see these TV shows as reality TVs and people comment on what is happening, of course, because everyone wants to have a conversation about it, but these are real life people, and the way that they discuss these people, it's like they're just characters, they're not actually there, and they don't realize how much their words and their intent can hurt people. Hana, unfortunately, ended her life. That was found out in 2020, I believe, and Terrace House was finished after that. The reality TV show has not done an episode since, and I don't think they should. Hana's mother ended up suing Terrace House over this incident, and if you look at Oshi No Ko's episode and the other scenes that were filmed around Akane and that incident, the other people that were there in the show forgave her and cared about her, but we never got to see any other aspect to kind of what happened in Terrace House. Akane and Hana's stories are almost completely identical except for the way that they end. Even the way they look with coloured short hair is also pretty similar, and I think most people would agree that this is the story that this show has based this character off of. It is the most well-known story that we know is part of Oshi No Ko. It was in the manga, but not as many people said anything until the anime came out, of course. The anime has been absolutely plastered all over Japan, especially in Shibuya. You can see it everywhere. You can see buses with all the advertisements. You can see the big billboards with Oshi No Ko on it, and it's on TV as well. It's also on Netflix in Japan. It's everywhere. And of course, with it showcasing these real life stories, that has an effect on real life people. Hana Kimura's mother has actually made a statement about this episode and about Oshi No Ko using her daughter's death. I think we can all understand what Akasaka is trying to do using real life stories, especially something about online bullying, to discuss the entertainment industry and what it is actually like for people that work in this industry and kind of the darker aspects of it. But this episode was also released on the anniversary of Hana's death, so you can see why her mother is incredibly upset. She stated that she didn't want the work to be changed, it didn't need to be modified or destroyed. She was just asking people who were fans of Hana not to watch this episode or this show. Especially because the timing of the episode was just not great. It really made her question the series itself. In comparison to when the manga told the story, this anime episode was released on the date that her daughter died. This also sadly confirms the fact that the story has taken heavily from this real life incident. Although Hana's mother doesn't seem to wish any ill will towards Oshi No Ko or anything like that, it is quite upsetting and of course would be triggering seeing all of this everywhere. And at the time, the anniversary of her daughter's death, it's tough. I don't know if it was planned to be that way, to be released at that date, or if it's just a horrible coincidence, but yeah. I think we can all understand what this work is attempting to do in this discussion of what has happened here, especially since after Hana's death, online bullying laws and other things to kind of prevent that somewhat, or to kind of have repercussions for people's actions online, started to be discussed within Japan, which really wasn't there before. It is one of the most famous incidents of online bullying. So that is the story that Akane Kurakawa is based off of. And it's a pretty sad story at that. I personally was a really big fan of Terrace House, and I was a really big fan of Hana herself, so as soon as I saw this in the manga before the anime, I knew. I think a lot of other people who adored her also knew. And it's kind of hard to discuss something like that, and I don't think any media within Japan especially discusses how much of an impact this kind of thing has on people. As much as I do love Oshi No Ko and I love the anime and the manga and Akasaka's work, I do completely understand where Hana's mother is coming from, and it is quite upsetting to see this happen on the anniversary of her death as well. Oh. Thank you guys so much for watching. I would love to know what everybody else's thoughts are on this, especially because of the timing of it. It looks like they didn't speak to her family or anything like that before using this story, especially since it is such a well-known story. Of course people would say something about it, but yeah, I would love to know what your thoughts are on this situation and how they've used this within the anime. Thank you guys again for watching. If you would like to see more of the true stories about Oshi No Ko, I'll be continuing this series on this channel, so subscribe if you want to see more, I guess. That's all for today, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!